you all see the screen that I'm sharing, everyone? Please confirm. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So what we did in the last class, we started with the steps, right? Steps of sexual reproduction, stages of sexual reproduction in plants. Okay, so let's start with a brief recap. So who would like to give me a brief recap of what we did yesterday? Let me go to Saifullah. Would you like to just tell me what we did yesterday? Things are in
Yes,
front
sir.
of you in the board. Yes, please.
Yes, we did pollination,
Yes. So
in which we defined pollination, which is stated as transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma. Then we studied about pollinating agents,
yes. But
the
pollen
living.
first stage, right? There are three stages. Remember, I told you pollination, formation of zygote, and formation of fruits and seeds.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So you are explaining the first one, pollination. Yes.
Yes. Then we studied about pollinating agents,
Right.
in which we studied that living and non-living things help in pollen grains to be transferred from the anther to the stigma
Right.
for fertilization.
Yes.
We studied about different types of biotic and abiotic uh, animals and non-living things.
You use
For abiotic,
biotic. So I have not used that word. Probably when I was speaking, I did. But living means biotic. So components which are derived from living things are called biotic components, and those which are derived from non-living things are called abiotic. Okay, the word bio is for living, so non-living is abiotic. Yes, continue. Thank you.
and we studied about types of pollination. One is autocomy, second one is xenocomy, and third one is genetocomy.
Getono, it's
Yes,
gamy,
getono.
not gomy. Autogamy, xenogamy, and getonogamy. Yes.
In autocomy, it is self-pollination in which pollination taking place in same flower.
Right.
And xenocomy, it is the pollen grain of one plant is transferred from to stigma of another plant,
Yes.
which is cross-pollination between two different plants.
Yes. Right.
Then we have antithenogamy, which is cross-pollination in one plant, flower from pollen grain from one flower to stigma of another flower in the same plant.
Yes. Perfect.
Then we studied about gamete formation, in which how male gamete from the pollen grains are
So
are,
yes.
traveling to the style and entering to the ovule to pollen tube to fertilize with the egg to form a zygote.
And what was pollen pistil interaction? Okay, so for thank you, Saifullah. For the next parts, I will ask Hania. You're there, Hania? Yes, Hania, would you like to explain the pollen pistil interaction? What is sporopollenin and all these things? If you're speaking, Hania, you're not audible to me. Is Hania audible to anyone? Because she's unmute, but I cannot hear her. Can anyone hear Hania?
No, sir.
No, right? Hania, you're not audible. Please check your volume. Please check your volume if you're using the computer or a phone, and then unmute yourself again. Okay, by the time, yes, Anya. I can see you are unmute. You have unmuted yourself, but you are not audible. Probably the volume thing is the issue. Okay, Minashi. In the meanwhile, would you like to explain pollen pistil interaction?
It means when the pollen grains are deposited on the stigma, there is a chemical interaction between the stamen and the anther. Recognition is taking place.
Stigma and the pollen. Stamen and anther is out of context now. And stamen,
Pollen and stigma.
yes, between the pollen and the stigma.
Yes.
Okay, yes, continue.
And then the outer wall of the pollen is made up of sporolinin.
Sporopollenin.
Yes, sporopollenin, which is a chemically inert biological polymer.
Yes.
Mm.
And what do we call that outer coat? Exile, right?
And the inner wall is inner. In, in,
Yes, continue. Then what happens? The pollen tube starts growing, right?
yes, sir.
The pollen tube goes through the style and reaches into the ovary, where the event of double fertilization takes place, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So, yes, finding some issues with her computer. It's okay. Try to figure out what's the issue. No problem. Okay. Because I can see you can unmute and mute yourself, but you're not audible to any of us. Okay, Memuna, would you like to explain double fertilization?
Yeah, so in double fertilization, first of all, it is a characteristic feature of angiosperms of flowering plants, and here the male generative nuclei uh, interacts with the egg cell and forms zygote, which is an embryo. And in the second case, the male vegetative nuclei interacts with the two polar nuclei, which is diploid. It forms endosperm, which is a triploid.
Yes, Memuna,
And
just 1 second, Memuna. There's one small correction, people. Nuclei is a plural word, so just make it nucleus here because it's one single nucleus. It's N. Here it can be two polar nuclei because they are two. Okay. So here you have to use nucleus. It's not working in my case. Okay, continue. Memuna.
so yeah, in the second case, the endosperm is triple fusion formed, and
First fertilization gives rise to embryo, right?
yes,
And the second one?
endosperm.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
So this is double fertilization. Now, what is endosperm? I also explained endosperm. Mazia, what is endosperm? Cotyledon, endosperm. We did that, right? Mazia, am I audible to you? Can you speak? Mazia's, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Remember we discussed endosperm, cotyledon. So would you like to summarize the last part?
It is the tissue that surrounds the embryo in the seed of the angiosperms,
Yes, perfect.
and it helps in nourishment of the seed.
Right. And what is cotyledon? These words which are written, plumule, radical. What is this? Just explain the things that are on board. Yes, the last part that we did in the last class. Say you're not audible.
Hello?
Yes, you're audible now.
Yeah.
Cotyledon, radical, plumule. This basically this part. Can you see the board? Is it clear to you?
Yes.
Just explain this last part. What did we discuss? What did we learn?
The premiole grows up to become the shoot, and the radical grows down to become the root.
And what is cotyledon?
Cotyledon is the seed leaf.
Yes. So when it opens, if the seed can open into two, that it is dicotyledon, and if it is just one single cotyledon, it's called monocotyledon, right?
Yes.
In short, they are called dicots and monocots plant. Dicot plant and monocot plant. These two plants are very important for entrances. Remember, you have to go into the details of dicot plant and monocot plant later on. So just remember it from here. What are they? And where is endosperm present? How is it related to cotyledon? Mazia? What is the relationship between endosperm and cotyledon? Quick. You are not audible if you are speaking. I don't know. This is a common issue. Okay, we have Atif also. Atif, would you like to summarize the last part?
So double fertilization?
No. What is the relationship between cotyledon and endosperm?
So cotyledon is like the seed leaves, they later develop into the first leaves of the plant. So if it has two cotyledons, is a dicot plant, and if it has only one cotyledon, is a monocot plant. Then endosperm is the food storage tissue of the plant, and it is reproduces.
It's present in the cotyledon, okay? And cotyledons do not develop into the first leaves of the plant. They look like the first leaf-like structures, because when they come out of the ground and open, because they are green in color, you think that they are leaves, like I have drawn it here, right? But they are not leaves. They are not true leaves. True leaves develop later on. Okay, is it clear, Atif? They are called seed leaves, but they are not the first leaves of the plant. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. So today we'll come to the third stage. So till now we have seen how pollination happens. We have also seen after pollination how zygote is formed and how the endosperm is formed. So there are two things formed, an embryo and an endosperm. They both are growing. Now the third stage that we'll be talking about today is formation of fruit and seeds. Okay. First thing, write down what makes seeds. So write down ovules. This I have already told you before. Ovules develop into seeds, right? And what develops into fruit?
Ovary.
Yes, the ovary develops into fruit. Now seed and fruit, ovules and ovaries. Now fruit is itself a very interesting structure. Why it is interesting? What do you think is a fruit? Why do plants make fruits? For us, for humans to eat, for us to sell? Then why do you think, Atif? Why are they developing fruits? What is a fruit?
Fruit is a ripened ovary, basically.
Yes. So first you can define that fruit is a ripened ovary. Perfect. You can also call fruit as a ripened ovary. But why is this ovary ripening? What is the benefit of a ripened ovary in a plant? It is the stored food. Okay. The stored food which plant synthesizes and stores in the form of fruit when it is ripening, and inside that fruit is the seeds of the plant, right? It is used for two purposes. One is to store food. Next, if they do not want this, they will just shed this. So fruits or on their own also falls down, right? When a fruit is over ripened, it gets detached from the tree, correct?
So
And the reason behind that is when it will be detached from the tree, or when an animal or anyone, a human, will pluck that fruit for eating, basically we are also helping the plant in dispersing its seeds, right? So along with the fruit, we will also take the seed, and the plant wants exactly that. The plant needs the seeds to be dispersed. So when animals eat these fruits and disperse it around, they are also dispersing the seeds unknowingly and helping the plant species continue. There is an estimate that on the basis of their behaviors, squirrels have this habit of storing seeds and fruits. What squirrels do, squirrels, they take seeds or fruits and they go and they dig it and put it somewhere in the ground, and then they forget that where did they put it. And by this behavior, squirrels help grow a lot of trees. They are planting a lot of trees unintentionally, right? Interesting, right?
Yes.
And that is done with many other animals, interestingly and unintentionally. Now about fruit, there are two types. When we talk about fruit, the definition is that it's a ripened ovary, but all the fruits are not ovaries. So fruits can be categorized as false fruits, that this fruit, so second, am I audible, everyone?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Just allow me one more minute. I have to reopen this document. Okay, just 1 second. We can keep the discussion going till then. So I was saying that when we talk about fruits, there are two types, not types, but all the fruits are not exactly ripened ovaries. So if a fruit is a ripened ovary, we call that fruit as a true fruit. And inside that ripened ovary, there will be ovules which will develop into true seeds. Now seeds are always true, they are ovules only, but fruits are not true. For example, apple, right? All of
Yes.
you. So how many of you have, let's talk, let's take an example of an apple and any other true fruit. For example, any other true fruit, any fruit which is a true fruit, let's say watermelon. Okay. So what is the difference you see between an apple and a watermelon? Is watermelon a true fruit, first of all?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So, and is apple a true fruit?
No, it's not a true fruit.
Why? Why do you think apple is not a true fruit?
Because there even the thalamus is contributing
Yes.
for formation of the fruit.
Yes, you're right. But if I look at an apple, can I by looking at fruits say that which fruit is true and which fruit is false? How many of you have cut an apple? I'm sure many of you have cut an apple, right? How does an apple looks when we cut it? Can you all see the screen that I'm sharing?
Yes.
So let's try to. Where are the seeds present in an apple? Can anyone tell me?
In the middle.
In the center.
Exact center, right? And if you will cut an apple, so let's cut an apple. Okay. This is an apple. Suppose it's a cut apple. Okay, it's half apple. So how many of you have noticed that in the center there is something like this kind of a structure? In the center of which are your seeds aligned? Am I correct?
Yes.
Looking carefully at the apple itself teaches us biology. But this part of the apple is a little hard and we do not eat it, correct? We take this part out and we throw it. Remember, most of the times we do not eat this part, right?
Yes.
Which contains the seeds also. So we only cut the part, we only eat the part that I am just coloring here. So we eat this and this, the pulp, correct, everyone?
Yes.
Now, the true fruit in case of apple is what we are throwing. So this is a ovary. If you look at the structure, does it look like exactly that at one point of time, this was the ovary, this was the embryo sac with ovules inside, and there will be a style and a stigma, right?
Yes.
So this is the part which is the true. The ovary in case of apple does not ripens. What gets ripened is the part around the ovary. Like if we go to the diagram of the flower, look here. So you see ovary, this is the ovary. You see the extra tissue around and below this ovary, right? This part here. Say yes or no, everyone. Where I'm putting the cursor.
Yes.
This part. So this part gets ripened and covers the ovary in apple. And that part is called thalamus. Like, who said thalamus? Was it Mamona?
Yes.
Yes. So the ripened part is not ovary, but thalamus in case of apple. Okay. And the ovary is inside, which we throw, and inside the ovary are the ovules. So this is why apple is known as a false fruit. Okay. Whereas in a papaya, let's say, is papaya a true fruit? Is papaya a true fruit or a false fruit?
False.
Is papaya a false fruit?
Yes.
How? Give examples of some true fruits. Any fruit which is a true fruit?
Orange.
Sorry?
Orange.
Is orange? Yes. Mango? What is mango? It's a true fruit, right? Because what you are eating is the ovary, and inside you see a direct seed, right? A single seed, which was supposed to be
Yes,
a ovule. So if you cut a mango will look something like this, right? If you just cut it. So what you are eating is the ovary part. What is inside is the ovule, right? So this is a false fruit, and this is a true fruit. More examples of true fruits are, for example, blueberry, plums, right? False fruit says strawberry. Strawberry is a false fruit. Why is strawberry a false fruit? Because if you see at strawberry, where are seeds in a strawberry?
They're outside the, like in the surface of the straw.
Right, they are like acnes present at the surface, right? Which we remove before we eat a strawberry, correct?
Yes.
So the seeds or the ovules are present at the out, basically in grooves. So clearly it makes sense. If it's not inside, the inside part is not the ovary and it's not a true fruit. And other examples are figs and mulberries. Figs and mulberries are also false fruit. Okay, but you understood how to identify a true fruit from a false fruit?
Yes.
So any part, how will you define false fruit? Write down. False fruit is formed. False fruit is formed from any part of the plant, apart from ovary or other than ovary. Other than ovary. So if it is not ovary, then what are the other parts that can develop into a fruit? Is this part, this whole the receptacle, thalamus, pedicle. So write down parts like thalamus, apart from thalamus there will be parts like perianth. So from perianth your jackfruit is made. You know jackfruit? Every one of you knows jackfruit.
Yes.
From thalamus we have apple, from perianth we have jackfruit, and from peduncle, pedicel, and receptacle. All these parts which are present around or below or above the ovary can develop and start ripening. And if they are ripening, it's clear that it's not a true fruit, it's a false fruit. Okay. There is one more topic that we should cover here only because we are studying this. How many of you know about a term called parthenocarpy? Parthenocarpic fruits. What is parthenocarpy? Anyone?
The fruits which do not go under fertilization.
Sorry, fruits that
Do
develop
not
without.
go under fertilization.
Yes, development of fruit without a fertilization is called parthenocarpic fruits. Most of the time when the fruits which develop without fertilization, which are parthenocarpic fruits, are false fruits. Okay, now write down. But they can also be true fruits. If they are true fruits, they will be seedless. Now you have to remember two things here. See, what is the one thing, one structure that will obviously be formed if fertilization happened? Yes, Samson is asking, can we differentiate between a true and a false fruit? Okay, Samson, is it clear now, or should I make you write the difference column? You can do that also, but let's first understand parthenocarpic fruits. Okay, and then we'll summarize everything together, whatever we have to write. Now my question is, if fertilization happened, what is the one structure that will form for surety? Why is
Seed.
seed? Perfect. So if there is seed in any fruit, that is the proof that fertilization did take place. So if we are growing fruits from parthenocarpic fruits, parthenocarpy is the process where fruit formation takes place without fertilization. Okay, let's first define it. Write down. Parthenocarpy is where parthenocarpy CARPY. Parthenocarpy is where development of fruits takes place without fertilization. Where development of fruits takes place without fertilization. Next point, parthenocarpic fruits are seedless. Okay. Parthenocarpic fruits are seedless. Now, question is, let me ask you one thing. How do you think if we are not doing fertilization, then how can we make fruits? Any idea? What can you think of? If I ask you to make a fruit in science, think like logically, but you are not allowed to do fertilization. Then what is the other way through which fruit can be produced? Think.
Plant hormones.
Yes. One thing, what do you say?
The plant hormones.
Plant hormones. Okay. Anything else? Plant hormones. So if you, there are plant hormones that helps in ripening of the fruit, right? Was it Atif? You said plant hormone?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So Atif, there are plant hormones like ethylene, right? Which is a gaseous hormone which helps in ripening of the fruit. But how it does not helps in making the fruit, right? Right, when it is raw. So parthenocarpic fruits also can be raw and ripened both. So I understand that for ripening it, you can use plant hormone. It will work the same as it was working for a fertilized fruit. But my question is, how do you think a parthenocarpic fruit is formed? Any idea? What do we need to make a fruit? Let's go to the basics. You all have answered this, but now because I'm asking this question in a twisted manner, and this is what examinations will do. So you're not giving me answers. You all have answered the question already. What is a fruit? People, combining false fruits and true fruits together, what is a fruit?
Ripened parts of the plant along with the ovary.
Exactly. It's just anything that gets ripened can become a fruit, right? It should have stored food, starch, fructose, glucose, and it should ripen, which means it should make more of that food and store it in the cells and get ripened over time. So we just have to make conditions where any part of the plant, whether it's in the false fruit, it is thalamus, receptacle, pedicel, peduncle, perianth, thalamus, anything. Or in true fruits, it's ovary. That has to be ripened. Fertilization only ensures formation of seed from ovules. If there is no fertilization, but still you can make any part ripen, that will be a fruit, but a parthenocarpic seedless fruit, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
So write down. In the
Sir, can parthenocarpic fruits happen natural, or is it only like artificial man-made?
no, parthenocarpic fruits, basically the word parthenocarpic, the Parthen word, means the virgin fruits. Okay, they are also known as virgin fruits. So all these seedless fruits that grow on trees, grapes, do we grow it in laboratories? No, right? Banana grows naturally on the plant, right, Atif? And it is a parthenocarpic fruit. So what do you think now for your answer? Is it naturally growing or not?
Yes, that's natural.
Yes, write down. Parthenocarpic fruits. And Atif, also you started with answer saying plant growth hormones, but then tried to confuse you with ethylene, and you again did not answered me back saying that there are other plant growth hormones as well, right? Ethylene is for ripening, but what initiates fruit formation? Remember class 11th, which hormone starts initiates fruit formation? One hormone named gibberellic acid, gibberellins, auxin, gibberellin, ethylene, abscisic acid. Forgot everything, right? Class 11th gone.
Yes, sir, I forgot most of it. Only remember the names, sir. I don't remember the function.
Yeah, okay. You may have to go back and revisit these things, because see, 12th is not just something exclusive that you are studying. Everything comes from what you have studied in 11th, right? It's connecting. In fact, 9th, what you studied in class 9th, standard 9th, comes in detail in standard 11th. And what you studied in standard 10th comes in more detail in standard 12th. So these 4 years combined together prepares you for entrances, okay? Though we will try to cover as much as we can in this 1 year that you are with me, apart not only the 12th class syllabus, because in every topic we are going a little beyond, right? I hope you all are noticing that we are going beyond to understand certain concepts which will be helpful, okay? I'm sure, I hope no one is feeling overburdened, right? Are you feeling overburdened?
No, sir.
No, right? Try to make it a habit that now you have to increase your appetite for biology and science in general, okay? So write down, during the cultivation of parthenocarpic fruits, during the cultivation of parthenocarpic fruits, the condition in which fruits are formed, the conditions in which fruits are formed are kept the same, along with plant hormone like gibberellic acid, along with plant hormones like gibberellic acid. In some books you read it as gibberellins, okay? Gibberellic acid. This results in, so what happens basically, this results in maturation and ripening of ovaries, maturation and ripening of ovaries without fertilization taking place, without fertilization taking place. Now tell me, if there is no fertilization taking place and we are just growing fruits through parthenocarpy, is there any advantage, any disadvantage? Of course, there's a disadvantage to plant, right? Because we discussed in the beginning that the sole purpose for a plant to make fruit is to put its seed inside so that we can disperse it along. But sometimes we do not like the seed, right? We want to enjoy just the fruit without the seed. So if we develop fruits through parthenocarpy, it has advantages, commercial advantages to humans, that we can make bigger and more pulpier fruits without seeds. Correct? So yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so write down. Parthenocarpy produces bigger and pulpy fruits bigger and pulpy fruits without seeds. Without seeds. Write down without any viable seeds. I will tell you why. Without any viable seeds. Add this word there, viable. What is a viable? What does the word viable means? Please, it's an English word. Viability. Viable means functional. Yes, someone was saying something. Viable means which can still function. Whatever it was meant to do, it should do it. And what should seeds do? Seeds should germinate and give rise to a new plant. So sometimes in some of the fruits, there are structures. Sometimes when fruits are developed through parthenocarpy, there are structures that look like or are rudimentary seeds, but they are not viable. Okay. How many of you have seen a fig? Fig. Anjeer, I think we call it, right? You have seen seed-like structures inside fig? Say yes or no?
Yeah.
But those seeds, if you take and put it in the soil, they will not germinate. They look something like they are very dispersed, small seed-like structure. They are not viable. Most of the figs which are in market are developed through parthenocarpy. Okay, just to make it more pulpier and bigger. Also banana. So write down examples of fruits that can develop through parthenocarpy. Banana, fig, pineapple, grape. Nowadays there are watermelons which are being developed because everyone hates one thing about eating watermelons. And what is that?
Seed.
Exactly. Imagine a watermelon which is seedless. Heaven is it, right?
Yes, sir.
Anyone has had a seedless watermelon? I don't know if it's available there in places where you live. Anyone has?
No, sir.
No, it's not available. Yes, but watermelon can be developed through parthenocarpy. It's not very normal because normally it does not take anything much to develop, like to grow watermelons. So the farming is easy, so that's why people do not go for parthenocarpy. And of course, if they are seedless, their prices will be high. So you need people. So if I say that this is a normal watermelon which costs you 20 bucks, and this is a seedless watermelon which costs you 200 bucks, which one will you choose?
Seedless.
You will choose seedless. Okay. No, but most of the times people will say like it's 10 times the difference. So let's choose the seeded one. It's okay. Like seed, we will take care of seeds. Okay. So that is one issue, but watermelon are there. So you can add on watermelon. Orange, anyone has had seedless orange? Oranges are very common in market these days.
Yes.
Mamuna.
They're like very small oranges that are seedless.
Small also, there are big oranges also which are seedless. Just take a bite. Mazias also have seedless oranges. Mazias, your yes is for watermelon or oranges? It came just now, so I think it's for it's for oranges, right? Orange, yes, orange is common. And write down what else? Yes, cucumber, call it cucumber, cucumber, whatever you call it. But you all must have seen that inside a cucumber there are seed-like structures, but we just eat them because they are not viable seeds. They look nothing like a seed. You can just chew it easily and eat it, right? Because they are not developed, they are not fertilized. So is parthenocarpy, its process, advantage, everything is clear?
But if parthenocarpic fruits don't produce viable seeds, then how else will they produce seeds that can germinate?
So we do not see, basically what we are doing is we have a plant. Okay, so you first need to have lot of plants. Suppose you want to cultivate orange through parthenocarpy. Okay, so you'll have plants of orange. You have an orchard of orange plant, and then you induce, before fertilization happened, You induce, you do not allow fertilization to happen, and then you induce the hormones and the same conditions, water, everything, so that the fruit starts developing. Next season also you have to do the same thing. So we do it for our commercial benefits. Oranges are not every time grown from seeds, right? You know, I'm sure you know that. Every season, mango, oranges, people already have farms of these plants, acres and acres of land where only orange trees and or mango trees are grown. Just every season they have to give fruits. So every season we have to control that fruit formation and not let fertilization happen. Make sense, Atif?
No, sir, like for like naturally occurring parthenocarpic foods, like you said, banana.
Yes, naturally sometimes it happens. Yes, right. So naturally how it happens is if the and again same thing, banana as a plant in nature has now evolved, because how do we propagate banana as a plant? Tell me.
Vegetative propagation.
Just vegetative propagation. Remember, you cut banana, like the stem of it, and you put it anywhere else, you will grow banana. They are not grown from seeds. So naturally they have no other option than to go for parthenocarp, because these growth hormones will be produced in the plant, but there is no fertilization happening, because there is no pollen pistil interaction, no pollen tube happening, but the ovary is still there, which will get ripened. The thalamus is still there, which will get ripened over time. Is it making sense, Atif?
So then banana does not reproduce sexually.
Banana does not reproduce sexually nowadays. No. See,
Okay, sir.
wild
So
banana.
now it's clear, sir.
Yes. So the wild banana, from which banana, so all the fruits that we actually now eat, even all the vegetables, actually they're not how they used to be in the wild. You know, the cabbage, the wild cabbage looks violet or black, and it does not taste good. So somewhere when we started agriculture, our ancestors thousands of years ago realized that this particular plant, which is the cabbage, the wild cabbage, has the potential to provide us nutrition. So they started cutting it and started propagating it, you know, through vegetative propagations. And over time, we have developed varieties of these plants but on our own. So all these varieties are not at all natural or wild. Mangoes, there are more than 400 500 varieties of mango only in the world, and still the list is growing, because every time we are doing some hybrid propagation, we are bringing in a new variety of mango, right? You also will see that on the same plant you can grow more than one variety of mango. Have you seen that? Have you heard the news? A man in India, in Uttar Pradesh, I think he grew more than 100 varieties of mango on the same plant. That's very interesting. And how it could happen, because when you are growing these plants, you know, you can easily do grafting. Say yes or no?
Yes.
So when you're doing grafting, you just need to graft multiple branches on the stem from different varieties, and when they will, those grafts will be, all those grafts will be accepted by the plant. The plant will develop into a hybrid plant containing 3 4 5 different varieties. So one branch will have one variety of mangoes, the other branch will have other variety of mangoes, the third branch will have other variety of mangoes on the same plant. So through this technique of agriculturing through vegetative propagation, things have changed a lot now. So banana, of course, initially must be showing sexual reproduction in nature. It must be having pollinators as well. But now things have changed. Is it clear, Atif?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, write down. Pineapple and figs are naturally occurring parthenocarpic. The most common which occurs naturally apart from banana is pineapple and fig. You can just put a border on pineapple and fig and write down these are the most prominent naturally occurring parthenocarpic plants. So in nature only they do parthenocarpy. They do not require, they do not rely on fertilization to happen. Every season they just make more and more fruits through parthenocarpy. But yes, the plant itself, when it must have been grown, it must have been grown either from seed or through some vegetative propagation if it is grown by human, right? Right, Atif?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Now write down types of parthenocarpy. Types. There are two types of parthenocarpy that we have discussed already. One is called vegetative parthenocarpy. Now sounds very much like vegetative propagation, no? Vegetative parthenocarpy, and the other one is stimulative. What does the word stimulation means? To stimulate. What does the word stimulate means?
Something to do with like the senses.
So we stimulate our senses. So if I like try to rub a feather on your skin, I'm stimulating your touch sense. But what is the meaning of stimulating? Activating, basically, right? Doing something from externally, providing something externally, correct?
Yes.
Now, is it clear? I think it's already clear what we have discussed. Write down in vegetative parthenocarpy. In vegetative parthenocarpy, no pollination takes place in nature. No pollination takes place in nature. So it happens in the absence of pollination. No pollination takes place in nature. So no seeds are produced within the fruits. No seeds are produced within the fruits. Next is stimulative parthenocarpy. So this is what we have been talking about. Naturally that happens, seedless. So from vegetative parthenocarpy, we get seedless. All the seedless fruits come from here. In stimulative, write down. In this, pollination, it can be present, right? In nature, pollination is happening. But in stimulative parthenocarpy, there is no fertilization. Write down. No fertilization takes place. No fertilization takes place. So how do we achieve fruit? How is the fruit developed then? This can be, this is what we do. Humans can do this. So to achieve stimulative parthenocarpy, like it has been seen in nature also. You know, there is a wasp. How many of you know wasp? What is a wasp? Wasp. Sorry, it's not wasp, it's wasp. Anyone knows what is a wasp?
It's an insect.
It's an insect, right? It looks like bee, but it's not bee, it's a wasp. So there is one wasp which deposits its eggs inside the ovaries of the flowers. Okay, because it has space inside, so the eggs can just develop properly. And once it becomes hatches and larva comes out, that larva can keep eating the tissue and crawl out of the part. Do you understand that? has it happened to, like it has happened to me once. Has it happened to any one of you? You brought a fruit from market. That fruit seemed flawless. No opening, no hole, nothing on the outside. But then you open it and inside there is a like larva. There is, has it happened to any one of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Saifullah, with which fruit it has happened?
I guess it was mango.
It was mango. It can possibly be mango. Yes, right. It can also be other fruits. So what happens is it looks very good from outside, but then you open it and from inside there are insect larvae crawling out, which means the food is like the fruit is not fit to eat. But then you wonder that how did the larva went inside, right? When there is no opening from the outside. Someone else is saying, yes, it has happened with Moyuddin for dates. Okay. But are you sure that there was nothing, no opening, nothing, no hole? So then in that case, there is a wasp, which what it does, it wasp has very long ovipositors. So I'm not sure if I can draw a wasp very amazingly, but it has a body, let's say, and it has a very long tail-like structure at the end of which there is a sting. And with that sting, it can deposit eggs inside the ovary. So before the fruit was actually started ripening, it just deposited it in the ovary or in the nearby tissue, the eggs. And then that deposition stimulated the ripening. Okay. So that deposition stimulated as an external factor the ripening for the fruit. So that is one kind of a parthenocarpy, which is not done through vegetative modes or natural modes, but is stimulated by one or the other factor. So in this case, the factor is wasp. So wasps, write down. Stimulative parthenocarpy can be achieved. Stimulative parthenocarpy can be achieved when the ovipositor, the word ovi is related to terminology section. Oviparous, viviparous.
Depositing eggs.
Yes, and positor comes from depositor. So you are depositing eggs. So a structure which is present in the abdomen of wasp, which helps in depositing eggs into something. You know, these wasps can also be very dangerous, because if they find nothing, it has happened to a man. You know, there used to come a program on Discovery. I don't know if they air it right now or not. Long back, it was called Monsters Inside Me. Anyone is aware of that program? Monsters Inside. No? So this was a program where they used to tell about natural incidents where some or the other animal or a larvae or an insect is growing inside a human's body without the human knowing. And only when it starts paining or you see some bulging out, swelling or something, or pus formation, you go to doctor and doctor does a test scan and tells you that, okay, there is an animal growing inside you. So these ovipositor wasps, what they do, they sometimes sting people, okay, like anywhere. And to this person which I am talking about, the wasp stung the person just behind the ears, okay. And you know that this ear, inside there is the middle ear and inner ear, and then there is a eustachian tube, right? There is a lot of empty space inside our skull. You know that? Take your finger, everyone, put it behind your ear and just slide down. You will see there is an empty space from where you can enter your skull here, just beneath your ear. Can you see that, everyone? Just above your lower jaw and beneath your ear, there's an empty space. Did you feel it?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes. So this wasp stung that person right here, and he thought that it's a bee sting. Okay, so how do we treat bee sting? How do we treat bee sting? We take some antihistamines, we rub something to let the swelling go and the pain go, and after 2 3 4 days the pain subsided and the swelling was gone, and he felt okay, it's a bee sting, and now I am, yes, baking soda or something like that, yes, and he thought it was a bee sting, I'm fine. But what happened actually, this wasp deposited the eggs in this empty space, and the larvae start growing inside the skull only of this person. And he got to know only when he started feeling a lot of pain beneath the ear and inside the ear, and there was a lot of pus formation happened, and then doctor had to just make an incision and take out those larvae, live larvae from inside a human. That was the program called Monster Inside Me. The same thing they do for flowers, and when they do it for plants, they stimulate the ripening. Okay, everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Little scary, so every time you get a bee sting, now be very careful if it was a bee. Okay, anyways, so write down, what did you write down? What did you just write? Where are we? Just say the last sentence. Anyone, please? Hey, just the last sentence. Anyone, dictate, please, so that I can continue.
Stimulative parthenocarp can be achieved when the ovipositor. Yeah, stop.
Yes, ovipositor of a wasp. Ovipositor of a wasp is inserted into the ovary of a flower. Is inserted into the ovary of a flower. Okay, because when this insertion happens, it stimulates that ovary to get ripen without fertilization, so it does not wait for fertilization. So can we do it? Yes. So we learned from this that wasps can make it happen, so we also can make it happen. So what we can do is, as humans, we can just insert something and blow air which contains air. So a small needle or an injection that just blows a little air inside just to make a cavity, just to mimic what wasp was doing. It was doing it to deposit its eggs. We are just doing it to induce parthenocarpy. So that is called stimulative parthenocarpy. So we just take an injection needle and poke it in the ovary and blow some air inside. It will start inducing ripening for that ovary. Okay, so write down. It can also be achieved by flowing air or plant growth hormones. Flowing air or plant growth hormones into the ovary. And mostly when we do it for unisexual flowers. So write down, into the ovary of a unisexual flowers. Why unisexual flowers? Can anyone answer? Why unisexual flowers? Simple, because they rely on fertilization the most, and that also cross fertilization, and for that to happen they need pollinators, correct? If there is a bisexual flower, which means both male and female organs are present, it can just undergo self-fertilization, correct? Self-pollination also. Less dependency on pollinators. But if it's a unisexual flower, it has a lot of dependency on pollinators. So if you keep waiting for pollinators and suppose they do not come and do not pollinate the flower, then that flower will just die off. So to not let it go waste, you can stimulate parthenocarpy in a unisexual flower and make fruits develop, and these fruits will be seedless. Okay, is it clear what is stimulative and what is vegetative?
Yes.
Right? Okay, perfect. Okay, and so what is the benefits? They ask in boards also. This is a question they ask in boards. So write down the question. Give benefits of parthenocarpy. Give benefits of parthenocarpy. So again, what we have discussed till now, just write down. The fruits are more nutritious. Can someone tell me why more nutritious? Because now all the focus and all the energy is on ripening of the fruit, not on development of the seed or ovules or anything else, right? And we can,
Yes.
with the help of plant growth hormones, make it more pulpy and more bigger, so it has more nutrition also. Write down, fruits are more nutritious, better quality and seedless. Better quality and seedless. Next point, it reduces the cost of cultivation. It reduces the cost of cultivation. You can also say it increases the margin of profit. So that's why it reduces the cost of cultivation. Next, fruits produced are larger in size. Fruits produced are larger in size. And because we do not need pollinators, now listen, try to understand this point. If we are cultivating these plants for fruits through parthenocarpy, do we need pollinators now? Do we need insects?
No, sir.
No. So if we do not need insects for pollinating, so the flower structures, will those be very beautiful, vibrant to attract, or containing scent or nectar to attract the insects?
No, sir.
No. So if they will not attract pollinators, they will also not attract the other insects that attack the plant, pests for that matter, right?
Yes.
So if no insects are being attracted by the plant, we will also not be forced to use pesticides and insecticides. Clean method, right?
Yes, sir.
So the cost of insecticides and pesticides goes down. Also, the harmful effect of insecticides and pesticides on the plant and the fruit quality also is eliminated, correct? Yes. So write down, parthenocarpy keeps pests and insects away naturally. Parthenocarpy keeps pests and insects away naturally without the use of insecticides and pesticides. Without the use of insecticides and pesticides.
But is pomegranate a true fruit?
No. All our favorite fruits, or all the fruits which have very high value or are very like considered to be very healthy and are also economically sold at higher prices, I have seen that most of them are either not true fruits or they are either developed through parthenocarpy these days. Why do you think pomegranate is not a true fruit? Anyone?
Maybe because the individual part is like other part of a plant or something like that.
Pomegranate is not a single fruit also. It's not a fruit at all. That's a little hurtful to people who love pomegranate. And let me tell you, vegetables are also not vegetables. They are fruits. So they are fruits of a plant which we call vegetables because we have segregated vegetables differently from fruits. And according to us, vegetables are those which we cook and fruits are those which we eat raw. But these days, even that thing is that boundary is diminishing. We eat a lot of vegetables raw, right? For example, a brinjal is actually a fruit of that brinjal plant. It's not a vegetable. We call it vegetable. But let me ask you about pomegranate. It's very interesting actually, since you brought up pomegranate. When you open pomegranate, what do you see? Which part of pomegranate are we eating?
Like, yeah, the seeds.
We are eating the seeds, right? We are eating the ovules. We are not eating the ovary. Where is the ovary then?
Maybe the inedible part of the plant is the ovary.
The sorry.
Maybe the inedible part of the pomegranate is the ovary, like the part that covers the ovules.
Yes, the covering that you throw along with. So you see in a pomegranate, you will always see the pomegranate looks like this. I hope I do justification with it. So it is attached here, and it looks something like this, right? And you will see in the center,
Yes, sir.
there is a bulb-like thing in the center of this flower at the top. Have you noticed this?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
This was the part that was supposed to ripen and become a true fruit. And this is the covering of that ovary, inside which there are ovules, lots of ovules. But what happens, instead of this ovary, this part and this covering, these ovules start storing food. Instead of, so if you take a pomegranate seed, which we eat, so it looks something like this, right? You will see that inside it is a seed. Inside every individual seed is a seed. Have you noticed? So this part is red. If I draw it for you, it's red, right? Which we eat. But inside there is a white thing. That is the seed. You understand? Everyone understood? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
That's not a true fruit. Okay. So I was dictating benefit. Did I complete it? Did we complete?
Sir, you stopped that the pests and insects are kept away naturally.
Sorry, what? Kept?
You stopped that pests and insects are kept away naturally without the use of pesticides or insecticides.
Yes. Pesticides and insecticides. Right. So write down the harmful effects of, continuing that line only, the harmful effects of insecticides and pesticides are eliminated. The harmful effects of insecticides and pesticides on the plant is eliminated. But then you will say, someone can ask, but we are giving plant growth hormones, right? In excess. Will that harm? Isn't that artificial? Yes or no? Will that cause any harm?
No, sir.
No, because it's a natural substance already produced by the plants. So you can write down plant growth regulators or plant growth hormones are natural substances and are harmless. Plant growth hormones or plant growth regulators, whatever you want to call it, are natural substances and harmless. So overall, parthenocarp is a good deal for us. Okay, it's a win-win situation. Now there was a question, you all must have had seedless grapes, right? The grapes which come in market are, without saying unsaid, they are seedless, right? So
Yes, sir.
some kids believe that grapes are seedless in nature, but grapes are not seedless in nature. The natural grapes are seeded, they have seeds. Anyone has had seeded grapes?
Yes, sir.
You know, both the green and the black one, both grapes have seeds naturally. Okay, there are some mutant varieties that naturally produce seedless grapes, but they are very, very few and they require conditions to grow, so they are not present everywhere. Mostly, normally when we buy seedless grapes from the market, they are made seedless through vegetative propagation. Okay. So the question was, are seedless grapes naturally occurring? Write down the question. Are seedless grapes naturally occurring? So the answer to this is no. They are not naturally occurring. Seedless grapes do not occur naturally. They are produced by asexual mode of reproduction and parthenocarpy. Asexual mode of reproduction and parthenocarpy.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Else, also just write, if this question comes, also you can write, though there are some mutant varieties that produce natural seedless grapes, but they are very few. Though there are some mutant varieties, and I already told you these varieties are all developed by us. They are not wild varieties, right? All the varieties of all the plants which bear fruits, we have done it for ourselves. Like for rice and wheat, there are more than 50,000 varieties of rice alone in the world. More than 50,000 different varieties of rice alone in the world, out of which the best are chosen by farmers to grow, which give you the best yield in the least water usage, and normal, they can grow everywhere. So whatever is the best is chosen and is promoted by the government and the farmers, but there are more than 50,000 varieties. So they are all not wild, they are developed by us. Okay, so this is where we will end. Parthenocarp is done. Leaving this part. Root and seed formation is done. Okay, one thing. What is the advantage of making, so fruits we understood in detail. We also went to parthenocarpy. We left with seeds. Let's finish seeds into, we have 2-3 minutes. What are the benefit of producing seeds? Anyone, quickly? What is the benefit of producing seeds for a plant?
The seeds are ovules, so you can plant more plants.
One thing is it's easier for naturally for plants to propagate, right? So, and second thing is seeds are very important because they, as you said, when they ensure plant propagation, seeds also contain endosperm, right? So seeds are the structures that ensure that while the seedling is growing, it will have all the nutrition through endosperm. So young seedlings or young plants are self-sufficient and self-nourished because of these seeds only. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes.
And seeds are also important because they are a part of sexual reproduction. And what happens through sexual reproduction? Variations come through sexual reproduction, right?
Yes, sir.
Seeds are important for new genetic combinations to arise, new variants to arise for that plant. Suppose there is a plant which produces a fruit, and it always likes to grow in tropical temperature. And because of deforestation, global warming, urbanization, the region where these fruits were found is now rising in temperature. So these plants will find difficult to grow there. But if they continue to reproduce sexually, they will produce variants through the seeds, and some of those variants or varieties will tolerate heat. Make sense? we did the similar thing for rice. I was giving you an example. In rice takes a lot of water to grow. Paddy fields, you all must have seen in televisions, or like if any one of you has visited the northern India, you will see when they grow rice, paddy fields are full of water, right? Requires
Yes, sir.
lots and lots of water to nourish a rice plantation. But nowadays there are varieties that can tolerate low water conditions, less water conditions, because we are becoming scarce of waters. Our rivers are drying up, but we still need to feed people. So through sexual reproduction, rice plants have come with varieties that can tolerate, or through genetic modification, we have done some genetic changes, genetic engineering. They are called genetically modified crops, GMC. So genetically modified crops are also made to tolerate less water conditions so that they can grow and keep giving the same yield or even more yield in less amount of water. So all this can happen through sexual reproduction and through seeds. So you can write down anyone who is associated with a farmer or a farmer family, who comes from a farmer family. So this, anyone say yes or no? Is anyone there who has roots? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Okay. So I belong to a farmer family. My grandfather was a farmer, and what he used to do, every time when there was a good yield of, let's say, of wheat or rice of some particular variety, this is when I was very small as a kid, and I used to visit the village during the time of these paddy plantation. So every year from the harvest, he will keep a stock of seeds for everything, for every crop that he's growing. Suppose he's growing let's say green chilies or rice or wheat or anything, they will keep stock of the best uh, uh, from the best field. Like this field, this particular variety gave the best yield, so they will keep the seeds, because they know that the genes, they did not know the science, but they know that the seeds of this we will use next year to sow our fields again, and they will give us good yields, right? Because this practice also has this inherent science behind, that good genes must have transferred from parents to the seeds, because seeds are a product of sexual reproduction. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes.
Yes. So can I give you this as an assignment to write the benefits of seeds? Okay. Will everyone do this? Write down. You have to write 3 to 4 benefits of producing seeds by a plant through sexual reproduction. Write down as a question. Write 3 benefits of producing seeds through sexual reproduction by a plant. Okay. There are some topics in sexual reproduction of plants still left. We'll go to them in detail. But in next class, I will also simultaneously start with the animal part. Okay. Is it fine? And we'll keep going parallel to the parts which are left for plants. There are few in detail topics. Overall, we have covered the overall outlook. Good to
By
go.
animal, you mean human reproduction?
By animal, first I will start with some model systems that are asked in entrances, because remember our final aim is to go for entrances, right? So in entrances, they also ask you about the hermaphrodites, earthworm, frogs, and other type of reproduction cycles. They even ask you about insect reproduction and what are the structures, and giving an example of cockroach. So I will start with those, or I can do one thing. I can start with humans as well, and then we can keep going. Parallelly, I will tell you that, see, this is happening in humans. So in earthworm, this is happening. Okay. Will that work? Yes.
Yes.
But we have to cover everything, right? We cannot leave something, because here we are not only studying just for boards or just for entrance. We have to cover as much as we can. Agree? Agreed or not? You have
Yes.
to. Yes. Okay, then see you in the next class, everyone. Please keep revising, and please revise the plant, asexual, sexual, both mode. Finish the plant revision. From next class, we'll be starting with animals. Okay. Any doubts? Anyone want to ask anything before I finish? No doubts? You can say no if you have no doubts.
No, sir.
Okay, then see you next time. Take care. Stay
Thank
blessed.
you, sir.
Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.